Tonight's true scary story is one of the most terrifying stories that I have done so far. It is about somebody who was terrorized by a demon from the age of like 5 to 6 years old to like 16 years old, and then it went away for a little bit and then it came back. And what this demon did to this person is horrifying. Ruin their life. If you get scared easily, I would not watch this at night. There is your warning. Okay. Before we get started though, if you could hit that like button, I would really appreciate it. It does help my videos get pushed out, but only if you appreciate my work. And also, if you want to get notified when I tell true scary stories, hit that subscribe button. Okay, let's get started. So we're gonna call this person Kenzie. It all started when Kenzie, her brother, and her father moved into a 3-story house with 2 apartments on each floor. The house was over 100 years old, but it was well renovated, and it was right across the street from her new school, and it had a lovely park next to it. It was a lovely place to grow up. She was maybe 5 or 6 years old at the time, but at this time she started noticing that she was seeing shadows at the corner of her eyes. It was actually not until she got a little bit older that she realized that seeing shadows out of the corner of your eyes is not just an eye thing. Like, it's not a normal thing. It doesn't happen to everybody. She was also incredibly afraid of the dark, and she was afraid that when she was in the dark, she was going to wake up one night and Batman was going to be standing there to kill her. She said looking back on it, she did realize that Batman was a tall, dark figure, and so this is important for later on in the story. Now, she's always been very sensitive to energies and like the paranormal, so her guess was that she had already sensed the presence that she was about to deal with. She just did not know it yet. And even from a very young age, she dealt with depression and insomnia, and this was due to some bad family stuff that she was going on. This will also be relevant later on in the story. When she got older, about 12 years old, her mental health issues heightened drastically. So she was starting to cut herself, unfortunately, and she was dealing with severe insomnia. Now, she finished high school at around 15 years old, so she started sleeping during the day and she would be awake all night long. Sometimes she wouldn't even sleep at all. She became incredibly sleep deprived, and then weird stuff started happening. Objects would disappear and then reappear months later, and stuff would fall off shelves randomly. She took note of this. She noticed that it was weird. She thought it was odd, but she kind of just put it to the side. But then it got a little bit worse, because then she started hearing voices whispering and yelling her name, and it was in her brother and her father's voices. But then she would realize that they were either not there or they were asleep.
Kenzie.
Then things got even worse than that. She started hearing a lot of things, so a lot of auditory things were going on. She would hear what sounded like gurgling, like someone was being choked to death in the middle of her living room. Strange music in the middle of the night. She would wake up to it and she would notice that it was coming from the corner of her room, only for it to just stop in an instant. Knocking on the walls, always in threes. Knock, knock, knock. Horrible, demonic screeches. Footsteps, mainly coming from the attic that was right above her apartment. Sometimes it sounded like someone was throwing around whole closets up there, just rumbling in the middle of the night. She already knew her house was haunted, but she wasn't sure by what yet. So her and her neighbor friend Natasha decided to investigate. Natasha was the same age as her, and then Natasha had an older brother, we're gonna call him Patrick, that was the same age as her brother. They then informed her that they had been bothered by an entity as well. It mainly lived in their guest bedroom though. Ever since she had lived there, she could not enter that room. She said the presence in there was so overwhelmingly evil. It was almost like something was crushing you when you walked inside of the room. This is the same feeling that she got after it started, 24/7 for about a year. That feeling as if someone is standing behind you, like holding a knife at your back. Very uneasy. She's sure that some of you know the feeling. I know the feeling. So she started giving it a lot of attention, thinking that it was a ghost. This was the biggest mistake she could have made. Things got worse very quickly, and it completely attached itself to her. She was the perfect victim. She had a buffet of negative emotions, which she learned later was their main energy source to make them stronger. They fed off of that emotion. One night, she sees that shadow in the corner of her eyes, and she decides to look at it this time. She sees a silhouette of a black cat jump off her bed and then disappear into thin air, and creating a puff of black smoke. She jumps and turns around, sensing there's somebody behind her, and that's when she sees it. It was in its full form. It's what many people call shadow people or hat man, but she later learned that these shadow people are just demons. They can appear in various forms, often with glowing eyes or a hat. Hers was blank, no hands, no feet, not even a head. It was about 2 meters off of the ground, filled up the room with just black, smoky shadow, and it stared into her soul with its non-existent eyes. She stared in shock, but as fast as it appeared before her, it disappeared just like that. After this, things got really bad. She started to research what was going on and knew what she was dealing with. She didn't eat, she didn't sleep, she did nothing. She became obsessed with this. He started to play mind games after that, which was probably the peak of this haunting. Due to her depression and suicidal tendencies, she wasn't scared of darkness. She wasn't scared of many things, but she was scared of actual darkness. She was terrified of the dark, and this thing knew that she was terrified of the dark, and it would play little games with her, like it would make light bulbs shatter. This would happen like every 2 days. She would cry every time it would happen because her family was poor and they couldn't always afford to get new light bulbs, and she was always awake during the night, so she had to deal with this all night long. He was active during the day too, but when the clock hit 2 to 4 a.m., this is when he was at his worst. One day, she walks into the kitchen, and before she can turn the lights on, she feels something weird underneath her feet. It's moving. She turns the lights on, and she just sees maggots everywhere. There are thousands and thousands of maggots on her floor. She starts to cry. She cannot believe what she's seeing. She takes a shovel, and she's trying to shovel all of these maggots away. She doesn't know what to do when all of a sudden they just disappear out of nowhere. One day, she was talking into the air. She was talking to it all day. She didn't see it. She just felt its presence. She was hoping that it would let her sleep that night. She was so sleep deprived. She remembers even saying something like, "Listen, I've been talking to you all day. Please let me sleep tonight." That is when something terrifying happened. The energy in the room suddenly got incredibly aggressive, and that's when she felt something wrap around her neck and start choking her for a few minutes. That was the one physical attack she experienced. She said that they generally don't want to harm you because to them that is counterproductive. They will do it, however, if it helps their grand plan to break you. Basically, she was an exhausted wreck because she spent all of her nights literally fighting off a demon. She knew she needed help, so she registered into a paranormal forum. There was this guy there that helped her 2 different times. He was magically talented and was actually able to astral project. He successfully weakened the demon actually, and it actually stopped for a few years. Every now and then little things would happen, but nothing that made her worry. He still followed her around everywhere, and he negatively impacted her emotions as well. He actually drove her to try and commit suicide at the age of 16 years old. There were other things that contributed to it, but she believes that he was strongly to blame for this. The whole experience was incredibly traumatizing, like a horror movie, but no one believed her, except for her friends that lived in the house with her. Her dad didn't take her seriously. Her brother knew something was going on, but it terrified him, so he just left her alone with it. She saw apparitions over the years. She saw weird stuff, but overall, it left her alone. She wasn't sure if he was waiting for the right time again, or if he was just too weak. After her suicide attempt, she went to a clinic and she met her future best friend, and they started contacting this demon through a Ouija board. She learned that they just tell you what you want to hear, and nothing they say is true. It's all lies. But the only thing is, she developed some fucked up mental connection to this thing. Well, about 2 years ago, he became active again. She went to bed and her boyfriend was already laying there. Turned off all the lights and she closed her eyes. But then she opened them again and she realized there was a light in the living room. As she looked at the light, it turned off again. He waited until she looked at it. These little light tricks are things that he used to do years ago. And while it may seem harmless to us, she knew it was not harmless at all. It was starting again. She was so scared that her body started shaking violently for hours. Her boyfriend had to comfort her all night. She contacted her friend from years ago to try to develop a plan to trap this demon in an object. They spent a couple months doing this. Her friend actually ended up going behind her back and doing something riskier, but it actually worked. The demon left her alone for good. At least she thinks that it has. She'll know in a couple of years. She says that since there are so many people dealing with demons, she is going to give 3 different signs that you are maybe dealing with a demon. Number 1, shadows in the corner of your eyes. This also includes black apparitions and sleep paralysis. Hearing 3 knocks at a time. Strong feelings of intense negativity in a room, like you're feeling like the room is gonna crush you, and intense feelings of being watched all the time. Other things that might occur more often are very negative thoughts, sleep paralysis, and nightmares. Also, if you struggle with mental illness, there's a good chance that there is a demon around or a demonic presence around, and if there isn't, they will try to attach themselves to you eventually. These are her words. I will speak on my opinion after this. She says if you experience any of these things, do not pay attention to it. Ignore it like it's not even there. She knows that it's hard, but you have to try not to be scared. She says if that doesn't work, then you have to let it know that this is your space and only light things are allowed in your space. Basically tell it has no power over you at all whatsoever, but stay respectful. She said it's best not to give it any attention whatsoever, because if you're in, you're in. She said because there's no way out unless you have a person that can help you, that is either talented, magically talented, or maybe a priest or someone else that's willing to help you get rid of this spirit or this demonic attachment. And she was very lucky to have found this person that helped her get rid of it. She also mentioned that she did get tested for psychosis and schizophrenia, and that she has none of that, and that the psychiatrist was actually speechless about what she had told him. So that is truly terrifying to go through as a child. Like, I feel so bad for her. I genuinely believe that when you have anxiety, depression, like psychosis, anything that is related to mental health issues, that they may not be directly related because of demons, but I definitely think that when you're in that state of mind, that demons surround you and just attach themselves to you. I truly believe that. You guys already know I believe that because I experienced it when I went through addiction, and so have so many other people. So I wanted to be careful about saying that I know that was her opinion, what she said, but there are situations where people do need to seek professional help from a doctor when they do have like things like depression and anxiety. I don't believe that we should just assume that it is fully paranormal, but I do believe that when you are in that state of mind, that it is easier for you to develop some type of attachment or some type of negative energy. That's my thoughts on it, with all due respect to her. So what do you guys think of this story? I do want to mention that I did not get this from a submitter. I read this online on Reddit, and I will be putting OP's description or their tag in my description, so you can get it there. So I will be giving them credit. It's their story, but I just want to know what you guys think of the story, and has anything like this ever happened to anybody else? Because if it has, please email me if you're comfortable enough to share your experience. A lot of people don't share their experiences because they're afraid that people won't believe them. I promise you, I have a community of people here that will believe you and support you, and sometimes it helps to get these things off your chest. Not trying to pressure you into doing it, but I'm just saying, like, if you feel comfortable sharing your story, I would be happy to share it. And I always keep people anonymous that want to be anonymous. I take anonymity very seriously. So there's that. So what I think happened here is kind of what I stated before, is I believe that because she was having some home life issues, which she had stated previously in the story, and the mental health issues on top of all of that, whether they were created from her home life or not, I believe that something was drawn to that and attached itself to her. But I do believe that whatever it was probably resided in that home, because it started in that home. So I think it probably started in that home because it was already there and then attached itself to her, and then throughout life it just keeps coming back. And I am afraid for her because sometimes it feels like these things don't just go away, but I truly hope for her sake that this is completely gone. I think sometimes making sure that you are staying close to whatever higher power is your own higher power. I'm not saying God, I'm not throwing religion at you, I'm not a religious person, I am spiritual, but I do feel like being closer to your higher power can really help with things like this, to stop it from coming back and to stop it from happening, period. So what do you guys think about this? I would love your thoughts on this story. But other than that, now we're gonna do my favorite part, which is the shout outs. My first shout out is going to Slim410. You said that you follow me here and TT and that you look me up every single day. That makes me so happy. Thank you so much for your support and for searching for me, like, and putting on your notifications so that you are notified every time I post a video. That makes me so happy, like, that people are actually doing that. I seriously love it so much. Thank you, girl. You are the best. I love you for that. My second shout out is going to Ethan Scott 347. Thank you so much, Ethan, I hope that's your name, for just commenting. You said you haven't commented in a while, but I know that you watch my videos, and I love that you shared with me what you shared with me in your last comment. It means the whole world to me when people open up to me about their addiction, you know, just experiences. I just love it. It means so much to me, and I appreciate you supporting me and watching my content and commenting. Like, it means the world to me. I love you. Thank you. Oh, and congratulations on your sobriety. I'm so happy that you're safe and clean. With that being said, my name is Kaisa. I tell true scary stories on here every other night that you guys submit to me, and sometimes other stories that I dive into. But if you want to be notified when I tell a true scary story, hit that subscribe button. Also, I need you to do 3 things for me. And what are those? I need you to send me your scary stories. I need you to have a safe night. And what's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Spooky kisses.